Canto 2, Chapter 9, Text 11. Text 11. Translation and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jaya. Shyama Avadataha Shatapatra Lochana Pishanga Vastraha Suruchaha Supeshasaha Sarve Chatuhu Bahavaha Unmishan Mani Praveka Nishka Abaranaha Suvarchasaha Shamavadatta Shatapatra Lochana Pishanga Vastra Surucha Supesha Saha Sarve Jaturbahava Unmishan Mani Praveka Nishka Parana Suvarchasaha Shamavadatta Shatapatra Lochana Pishanga Vastra Surucha Supesha Saha Sarve Chaturbahava Unmishan Mani Praveka Nishka Parana Suvarchasaha Shamavadatta Shatapatra Lochana Pishanga Vastra Surucha Supesha Saha Sarve Chaturbahava Unmishan Mani Praveka Nishka Barana Suvarchasaha
Shama Ditata Shatapatra Lochana
Shamavadatta Shatapatra Lochana
Vishanga Vastra Surucha Supesha
Ishanga Vastra Surucha Supesha Saha
Sarve Jaturbhava Unishanmani Vavekanishka Bharana Suvarchasham
Shamavadatta Shatapatralochana Pishangavastra Surucha Supeshasaha Sarve Chaturbahava Unmishanmani Pravekanishka Bharana Suvarchasaha
Shamavadata Shatapatra Lochana Pishanga Vastra Surucha Supesha Saha Sarve Chaturbahava Unmishamani Praveka Nishka Barana Suvarcha Saha
Shamavadata Shatapatra Lochanaha
Shamavadatta Shatapatra Lochana
Pishanga Vastra Suracha Supeshasaha Sarve Chaturbahava Unmishanmani Praveka Nishkabarana Suvarchasaha
Shyamavadata Shatapatralochana Vishangavastra Surucha Supeshasaha Sarve Vachurbahava Unmishamani Raveka Nishkabarana Suvarchasaha
Shamavadata Shatapatralochana Ishangavastra Surucha Supeshasaha Sarve Chaturbahava Unmishanmani Praveka Nishkabharana Suvarchasaha
Shyamavadata Shatapatralochana Pishangavastra Siracha Supeshasaha Sarve Chaturbahava Unmishanmani Pravekanishka Parana Suvarchasaha
Shamavadata Satapachalochana
Shamadada Satapatalochana
Vishangavatra Surucha Supeshasa Sarve Chaturba Bhavaha Unmisanmani Rave Ganishka Bharana Suvarchitasa
Shama, sky bluish. Avadataha, glowing. Shatapatra, lotus flower. Lochanaha, eyes. Pishanga, yellowish. Vastraha, clothing. Suruchaha, greatly attractive. Supesha saha, growing youthful. Sarve, all of them. Chatuhu, four. Bahavaha, hands. Unmishan, rising luster. Mani, pearls. Pravika, superior quality. Nishka Abharanaha, ornamental medallions. Suvarchasaha, effulgent. Translation. The inhabitants of the Vaikunta planets are described as having a glowing sky bluish complexion. Their eyes resemble lotus flowers. Their dress is of yellowish color, and their bodily features very attractive. They are just the age of growing youths. They all have four hands. They are all nicely decorated with pearl necklaces, with ornamental medallions, and they all appear to be effulgent. Purport. The inhabitants in Vaikuntha Loka are all personalities with spiritual bodily features not to be found in the material world. We can find the descriptions in the revealed scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam. Impersonal descriptions of transcendence in the scriptures indicate that the bodily features in the Vaikuntha Loka are never to be seen in any other part of the universe. As there are different bodily features in different places of a particular planet, or as there are different bodily features between bodies in different places, different planets. Similarly, bodily features of the inhabitants in Vaikuntha Loka are completely different from those in the material universe. For example, the 4 hands are distinct from the 2 hands in this world. Shama Shamavadatta Shatapatra Lochana Pishanga Vastra Surucha Supeshasaha Sarve Chaturbahava Unmishan Mani Prave Kanishka Bharana Suvacharsaha. The inhabitants of the Vaikuntha planets are described as having a glowing sky bluish complexion. Their eyes resemble lotus flowers. Their dress is of yellowish color and their bodily features very attractive. They are just the age of growing youths. They all have 4 hands. They are all nicely decorated with pearl necklaces with ornamental medallions, and they all appear to be effulgent. Omigani Timrandashya Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshun Militam Yena Tashmai Shigare Namaha. Maharaj, would you please share something with us today?
It's a test for the reader or the hearer to see whether he is grasping the information, whether he considers this something that is acceptable or not acceptable. And depending on his advancement, on his faith. First of all, one should hear these descriptions of the spiritual world, not just from everyone. It's a very, very elevated science, very subtle, not for everyone to be able to grasp it. And so those who are not on the level, they won't be able to grasp it. For them, they should study Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary or introductory. These things are also presented in Bhagavad Gita, but they're presented, shall we say, in a more introductory way. And here the specifics are given. So many arms, 4 arms. We don't see people in the material. We don't see anyone with 4 arms, humans. So naturally, we might think that they don't exist. But just because we don't see them here doesn't mean they're not existing. There's many planets we haven't seen. We see, when we see the stars in the sky at night, we see thousands, millions of planets. And according to the Vedas, they all have life. It's stated in the Vedas that all the sarvaga, the living entities are able to go anywhere. They're not, after all, the soul is not burned by fire. It cannot be moistened by water. It cannot be destroyed by any weapon. If that's the case, it means he's indestructible. The soul is indestructible. That means the soul can live anywhere. Because he doesn't need anything material. So even if he lives in a place 100 degrees freezing, minus, not difficult for him because he's eternal. He doesn't require food. He doesn't require warmth. He's of a different energy, different nature. Just like, for example, if we take a piece of iron and we paint it to look like a human being, then the Iron Man can stand out. You can put him out in the cold, 100 degrees below zero, and still look the same, and he'll be able to function the same. But if we put a man, his body, different constituents, then there will be a difference. It will freeze and it won't work. So if we take Bhagavad Gita literally, the Vedas are meant to be taken literally, not hermeneutically. Hermeneutics, the study of interpretations. We like to give different interpretations. The Vedas are not meant to be studied in that way. They're meant to be studied direct, as it comes down in the descending line from the Lord. The Lord gives us knowledge first, and then it comes through Brahma, and Brahma gives to his offspring, and they give to theirs. In this way, the knowledge is passed on, and it shouldn't be changed. According to hermeneutics, one gives his own opinion. Opinions are not appreciated in understanding the Vedic literature, because that becomes speculation. Tarko pratishta shruteo vibhina. If one simply gives his own opinion, his own interpretation, he has imperfect senses. He has tendency to make mistakes, subject to be illusioned, and he has a tendency to cheat. With these four imperfections, he's not able to come up with perfect knowledge. Therefore, he can't be. Anyone who says, in my opinion, I think this about the transcendental knowledge, can't be accepted. One accepts transcendental knowledge from another person who's presenting what he's heard from higher authorities. Then it's accepted. When one quotes scripture, or he quotes some higher personality, exalted personality, then that is appreciated by the real scholars of the Vedas. But it's become fashionable now that everyone gives their own interpretation, their own opinion about even such things as shastras, whether we should accept them as being literal or not. The answer is yes, it is. They are to be taken literally. In fact, if one doesn't take them literally, and he blasphemes the Vedic literature, because it's blasphemous to say that this is not true. If a respectable person says, I'm giving you the account of what I experienced, what I saw, or whatever I heard, and then someone else says, that's a lie, that's untrue, not correct. That's an offense. If the person is very respectable, then that will not be taken very lightly. Similarly, if we say scriptures are not saying truthfully, no, we should take it. If I cannot understand something, Vedas, This is my defect, that I'm not ready to be able to understand this due to my material tendencies. I'm still not advanced enough. But I have confidence that the truth is given in the Vedas. Why? Because Krishna is speaking. Krishna is the original. And all the devotees are very dedicated to Krishna's version. They won't present a different version. They present their own. This is what makes the civic succession powerful, because there's no deviance. If they deviate from his version, it says here, answers by citing the Lord's version. That's what we want. And we don't care for someone else's version. Not what we're trying to be. We're not trying to insult anybody. But anyone who claims to give his opinion, he says, I don't agree with it, I have my own opinion. How can it be accepted? How can we know what's on all these planets? How can anyone say there's no such thing as life on all the planets? Then they would have to be able to give evidence proving that they've been, first of all, they've been to all the planets, or seen all the planets, experienced all the planets, which is not possible. And then they would have to say, I did not detect any living beings. But again, our senses are restricted. Everything about us is restricted. But there's another nature, Krishna says. Beyond them, they're not made of matter. And what is that other energy of mind, Krishna says? It's the spirit soul, the jiva. The living entities are not made of those 8 elements. Therefore, they cannot be limited by anything material. They can exist anywhere. As the Lord can exist anywhere he likes. Everything is under the Lord's control. If we think that the Lord has made all these incredible planetary systems and with revolving planets and so many different things, and there's no one living there, there's no purpose in it, then that's foolish. But we see that the systems we are able to perceive, they are not foolishly made. For example, the sun. The sun is not a made by some fool, because our best brains have not been able to understand the sun, although they've been seeing it for thousands and thousands of years. They can't understand how to make another one like that, how it works. It's rotating in the sky. It's maintaining the temperature, maintaining its light, even though it appears to be burning, it's so hot. Completely beyond our capacity to understand. So we have to admit that this is designed by an intelligent designer. Not just a designer, but an intelligent designer, far more intelligent than we. If we accept that, then when he speaks, and it's apparently over our heads, I say, it's over my head, but I'm hearing and I'm trying to understand, and I'll go on serving in the meantime until I'm able to, like a child, if he takes some big mathematical formula with so many different, he doesn't understand it. He doesn't even know what the symbols mean. So the parents said, rest assured, son, if you continue taking the classes, studying, you'll be able to understand all this. So he has faith. All right, I'll wait. Till then, I'll study what I'm able to study. So those who are ready for making spiritual advancement, they're ready to accept what's coming from Krishna. Because how can they prove it elsewise? How can they disprove it? What faculties, what abilities have they got to disprove it? True, they can say, I haven't seen it, or no one's experienced it, or that it sounds impossible. No. This is what everybody's really looking for, is this kind of information. Why do they have all these science fiction movies? All these types of people, they make up creatures to look in different ways, be able to do different things, because they're looking for something amazing. You would think that there must be some amazing persons. If you take it that these amazing things that we see, such as the sun and earth, how does earth grow? How do things grow in earth? Very difficult to understand for us. Because you can take some other brown material and you can put it down, you can put seeds in it, and you can put all kinds of things. Water. Won't grow. But what is it about that particular earth? You have to learn that. There's a higher science. So we should rejoice in this transcendental knowledge. This is a college. This is a college where this knowledge is being presented as it is without change. To the best of our ability, we can understand, as we've heard from authorities, we pass it on. And that way, it keeps the disciplic succession continuing. And that means that the opportunity for one to realize the highest spiritual truths is available. Because that's what an institution of education is meant to disseminate. Not just theoretical knowledge, but practical application. Vijnana, not just Gyan, but Vijnana. Gyan would teach us that we're not the body. Aham Brahmasmi, I'm spirit soul. But we need more information. Vijnana means what is the nature of the spiritual soul? He's a person. He has form. He has desires. He has all these things. So that's Vijnana, and we can get that Vijnana by devotional service. Jnana, we don't have to have devotional service. We can just, of course, there's some bhakti is there, even in the Gyanis, even in the impersonalists, because they follow Vedic principles. They follow the scriptures, injunctions. They're very strict. So because of that little bit of bhakti, they're able to get some knowledge about the spirit soul as being non-material, and that's to their credit. And the localized realizers, they understand that the super soul is localized in the heart of the embodied beings. We were hearing about that last night in the Gita, the embodied beings, not the super soul is not accompanying the souls who are in Vaikuntha. They don't need super soul. They have Supreme Lord in his original form or his four-handed form. They have that form, so it's not required for the super soul. But in the material world, this is the Lord, this is a benediction for the living entities. He comes with them in their bodies. There's two souls in this body. So many things, but we should be so joyous and happy to receive this knowledge. Bluish complexion, glowing blue, sky blue. Sometimes the Lord is depicted as having the complexion of a dark blue rain cloud, and sometimes it's sky blue. So there's some variance, but there are also many different aspects of the Lord, so they can be different. That doesn't mean that they're faulty. There are some varieties within the features of the Lord.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Yeah, I was thinking of the verse from Bhagavad Gita. We get, like you said, we get some knowledge of the spiritual world. Anantad Bhashate Suryo Na Shashanko Na Pavakaha Yadgatvanani Vartante Tad Dhamma Paramam Mama. That the spiritual world is not illumined by the sun or the moon or by fire, electricity. And one who goes there never returns to this material world. So we get some knowledge from the preliminary scriptures of the spiritual world. But then when you read further into the Vedas, such as Srimad Bhagavatam and Brahma Samhita, we get more advanced knowledge. We understand, like in this verse today, that it's Shama, sky is bluish, and we hear in the Brahma Samhita Yam Shama Sundaram that Krishna is this color also. And so I was reading in a lecture that Prabhupada was speaking about how the sun reflects, the sun here is beaming down and it's a whitish color. Of course, the visible spectrum is in like rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, blue, indigo, violet. So those are the colors that it refracts in the prism. You get those colors, but how we see it now is white in the reflection that, or the sun is shining down and reflects off our skin, and it can appear white also. So he is saying in the spiritual world, the Brahma Jyoti is like that color, and so when the light reflects off the skin of the inhabitants of the Vaikuntha planets, then they appear this sky bluish. And we also hear in this verse that they are just the age of growing youths. And so we also have this confirmed by Lord Ma in his verse, Advaitam Achutam Anandam Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha. So we hear that Krishna is this Navayovanam Cha. Navayovanam. He appears ever youthful, the age of about 16. He doesn't appear older than that, even though when he appears on this earth to execute his pastimes and give association to his most dear devotees, he grows to the age of 125, but he never goes past that. Then Maharaj was also saying that it's important to understand the scriptures as to not speculate about what's happening in this world. We use the scriptures to understand, especially to understand our present situation and what's going on in the spiritual world. And so when we speak, it's important to back our statements up by Shastra. It's called Pramans, right? pramans. It's like the evidence, evidence to back up our statements. And we hear all the great speakers in our movement, and they always back up what they're saying by Shastra. And so we can become motivated for ourselves to learn more shlokas, so we can know for sure that we're speaking from a position of authority rather than from something that's been manufactured in our own minds, or some, maybe we're trying to understand what is being said in the Vedas and we don't quite have a full grasp of it. So continuing to, like Rishi Kumar last night was saying, we continue to read so we can really understand what's being said and how to disseminate this knowledge effectively to all the world. And we can see, like Prabhupada here, if you just read his purports, which is, you know, he wrote them, but if you look more closely, every sentence can be backed up by Shastra. I had this realization maybe a year ago. I was reading and I'm like, as you gain more knowledge of, like, there's certain shlokas, and as you read more, you can see he's just he's repeating shlokas. He's putting them into words that we can understand, but every sentence is a shloka. Yeah, and this way we can know that we're not saying something to others that can mislead them in the path of bhakti. And I think that's, I mean, it's really important. We shouldn't mislead the public. The public needs someone great to follow, like we hear in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Yad Yad Acharati Shreshtas Tat Tat Evaktiro Janaha Sayat Pramanam Kru Te Lokas Tat Anuvartate. At whatever action a great man performs, common men follow in his footsteps, and whatever a standard he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So we have to try our best to be great so others can also become great, and not just to be great, but to become absorbed in Krishna consciousness and get out of this material world, or at least give up all these material desires that we have, and desire only devotional service in our lives. So thank you so much. Is there any questions, comments, corrections, or anything like that? Radhastali?
Hare Krishna. As you and Maharaj were speaking, I was thinking of the Bhagavad Gita verse, chapter 4, verse 40. I'll just read exactly what it says here. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. And in the purport, Prabhupada also says, only this knowledge will help one become promoted to the transcendental platform of spiritual understanding. In other words, doubtful persons have no status whatsoever in spiritual emancipation. So I was appreciating, or I'm appreciating how Maharaj was saying that, yeah, we can't accept this knowledge if we don't even have any faith. If we're just, if we read this verse today and we doubt, oh, how could there be like glowing sky bluish people, you know, in other planets with all these other nice qualities. So if we're constantly doubting everything we read in scripture, we won't be able to understand this spiritual knowledge. And I also like how Maharaj was making it clear that this place is a college, and this college is a place where we're all trying to share, or we're all sharing knowledge that's as it is from the scripture, from our acharyas, and sharing what we've heard from them, as opposed to saying, well, in my opinion, I think this. I'm sure I do that every once in a while, but I'm trying my best to learn how to do that. Just go straight to Srila Prabhupada because I'm so dull. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I have imperfect senses, and I think like one sentence I'll read and I'll like add my own filters in and just see like, oh, well, from my material experience, it must be this way. Prabhupada must be saying this, or Krishna must be saying this. So it's a nice practice to think that, oh, I have so much pride to think that I know better, to think that, oh, I can easily interpret this verse, because I think it's like this. But it's very humbling to think, oh, I'm like Maharaj was giving this meditation. He was saying that this is over my head. I'm not able to understand, but I'm hearing, and I'll just go on serving. That's a nice mood to try to practice, to think like, oh, okay, I'll just keep serving, and I'll add my own like thoughts that maybe as I keep serving, Krishna will help me to understand later what I'm reading and hearing. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for your nice comments. We should go on hearing and chanting, and that's how we'll become closer to Krishna, because our goal is it's not to follow some rules or regulations, but our goal is to love Krishna. But of course, we know a symptom of someone loving Krishna is they're engaging more, to the degree to which they engage more in devotional service and are hearing chanting. To that degree, they love Krishna. Yeah. And if we continue to hear from pure devotees about Krishna, then that can give us the strength to practice pure devotional service as pure devotees. Is there anything else? Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you. I was just thinking that that verse you gave from Bhagavad Gita, any action performed by a great man, common men follow in his footsteps. It kind of struck me because like I've been thinking about this for a little bit, like Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is basic, and everywhere in scripture, in the Vaishnava literature, every single, like you said, every single sentence is backed up by scripture. And the essence of all that scripture is Bhagavad Gita 1866. I think that's the number. Surrender unto me. So, and that surrender is made by engaging in devotional service. Like Mataji was saying, praying is one of the processes of devotional service. So is deity worship, so is hearing, so is chanting, so is offering everything, so is becoming a friend. Actually, becoming friendly is a really, really simple but powerful way to. I just heard this from one of Prabhupada, and I thought anyway, that's what I mean to say is that Krishna, I mean, everything that we're reading is basically it's supposed to give us faith, and supposed to everything that we're reading is supposed to give us faith and confidence to surrender unto Krishna. Like this verse in this purport, he was talking. I'm sorry, we're going over time, but this verse in this purport, we're talking about how we should have faith in these things. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Right, even just one of those processes can take us back home, back to Godhead. You just have to become attached to one of those, right? Okay, I think we'll end there. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpa Trivyascha Kripa Sindhiveva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.